What up, world? Waxvillain, Seattle, Washington. You already know what it is. Welcome to Waxvillain Fireside Chat. We got greatness in the building, pulling up all the way from Sin City. The Escapers, Colton Henriksen and Johnny Ruiz. Keep it locked. We'll kick things off real soon, y'all. What's up, John Lowe? We see you, brother. Chris Lou in the building. Yeah. Mama's in the house. PHP Soul Funk, we see you. Don't sleep, y'all. Parkside Records. The Escapers. The latest offering. Shout out to everybody on the line. Gonna kick things off real soon. Yeah, Escapers are in the building. Shout out to From the Other Side, we see you. From the old side, we see you, brother. I know y'all remember this right here. Going back. What up, Rach? We see ya. What up, Sylvia? We see ya. What up, Swab? We see you, brother. Appreciate you. Hey, what's up, fellas?
What up?
Oh, man. Whose shelf is that?
Oh, this is the record office for
Parkside.
Yeah.
I'm good, aren't I? I'm good. I know what I'm looking at. How y'all doing, though? Good?
Good, man. Just chilling. How you doing?
Man, I can't complain. Happy to be here. What's the weather like in Vegas today?
Dude, it's not like New York, East Coast cold, but it's pretty damn cold. It like snowed the other day for a flurry for a second, and
it was weird, man.
It's awful.
It was weird. It was really weird driving and then snow comes out of nowhere. I was like, what?
So
trippy.
We had snow Monday morning or Tuesday morning when we woke up, and I thought it was strange, but snow in Vegas.
Yeah, I left Michigan to never see it again. I didn't think that was the desert.
No, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. All right. I see we got 23 on the line. If y'all are ready, I'll go ahead and kick things off.
Yeah.
So, I want to welcome everybody to Waxvillain Fireside Chat. Fireside Chats are similar to interviews. However, we take the time to do the research. We want to make sure we're not duplicating efforts. More importantly, we want to support and strengthen what's already out there. We got a grip of questions tonight. I'm so excited, y'all. Now, when it comes to these gentlemen right here, the Escapers, I would be remiss if I didn't take it back to 2020. You see, that was when we were first introduced to these gentlemen. And for me, it was my first time really diving into the indie scene when it comes to the music, the soul, the funk, the global grooves. And it seemed like out of nowhere, like a breath of fresh air as we were trying to navigate the pandemic, times of uncertainty, came this captivating voice with a band of brothers behind him. And on the eve of the pre-order release, I reached out to Johnny because I hadn't heard the B-side yet. And I was still channeling the right vibrations to understand the music. I said, Johnny, what's the B-side sound like? He said, we're trying to keep it low, but there's a video on the page. You can go and kind of get a little snippet of it. And that was the very first time that I heard the soul ballad from the Escapers. And if y'all paid attention earlier today when I showed the promo video, I took a snapshot from our very first interview when Johnny is explaining this was kind of our first take on soul. So without further ado, folks, after 2 years, I thought it would be fantastic to bring these brothers back to learn about their progression. They signed to a new record label. They released 2 new 45s. Without further ado, please help me welcome Colton Henriksen and Johnny Ruiz of the Escapers. Welcome, fellas.
What's up, man? Thanks for having us.
Yeah. So the DMs were jumping today. There's a lot of people that are really excited to hear about y'all. Some of them, this is going to be their first time. So I'd love to just start off with some basic introductions. Let us know who you are, where you're from, and your role in the Escapers.
All right, Johnny.
I'm Johnny. I'm the lead singer, and I'm from Oahu, but I've been out here in Vegas for I I think 17 years now. So I'm pretty much from Vegas.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I'd say so.
I do some of the writing and the lead singing.
Okay.
My name's Colt. I'm from Michigan, just outside Detroit, Harrison Township. I've been living in Vegas 6 or 7 years now. I play lead guitar and just help these guys write tunes however I can.
I love that. Now, we're missing some members of the Escapers. Let's go ahead and give them some love. Let's introduce them by name and talk about their role as well.
Yeah, so we have, he just joined right now, El Mariachi. We have Daniel. He's our trumpet player.
Shout out to Daniel.
Yeah.
Big shout out to Daniel. All those freaking melodies and horn lines you hear.
Yeah.
Like Daniel, along with Chris, they're like the newest members. I mean, it feels like forever, but I would say they're the newest members of the group, and they've been a huge pivotal role in our sound.
Massive.
We got Chris Diaspara, a good friend of, we met him through Daniel. He plays saxophone. We have John Olson on rhythm guitar. Kevin Montano on drums. John and Kevin are a freaking unit. They've been playing in bands together since they were young, so they're locked on the rhythm section. And then we got Victor Fuentes on bass and harmonies. And we have, I can't forget, my boy Ian McDonald on trombone and trumpet.
The horn section, man. They're such a big, giant. They're important because
Love
those guys, they're insane. Yeah, all those horn lines, those guys, like, it's crazy. They don't, like when I write a song, I don't send it to them and they go, yeah, I'll work on something. Like they do a little bit, but they usually figure it out in the studio. Like we're a big band. There's 8 of us, and so we'll all be jamming. And while I'm jamming and singing, you can hear like a little bit of talk, and I turn, and the horn guys are kind of huddled up. I'm like, oh,
Yeah, they're a little whisper huddle.
They're
like
working on something. Yeah, run it again, and they have a whole horn line already, like for the whole song. It's pretty crazy how those guys work.
Okay. Now, we're not going to exit this question without talking about the initiation you put Victor through. Can y'all elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, man, you did some research. I forgot. So,
Initiation.
we hazed them kind of like. So we were looking for a new bass player, and Victor, a local band, referred him, and he came to rehearsal. And Victor's if you see him around, he's a very chill, relaxed cat. And we were kind of wild back like 4 years ago, and we had a normal rehearsal, and every time like some people would break out, it would always be like the rhythm section, me, John, Kevin, hanging back, just jamming stuff. And we kind of forced Victor. He was kicking and having a good time, but we just kept pressing him. He's like, are you guys ready to leave? We're like, no. And next thing you know, it's like 2 a.m. and he's falling asleep at the bass, and we're like, wake up, come on, we got to keep on, keep jamming, bro. Like, we really want to be in the Escapers. Like, this is what we do, man. We stay out. We stay up late, like freaking. And he was like, you guys do this all the time? Or like, after we leave, we're like, nah. But we had to try you, we had to push you to see if you were down for the cause.
That's awesome. I appreciate y'all telling that story. I want to focus on kind of the progression that I had mentioned earlier. So 2020, you come out. We hear the smash hit. I'm going to remind y'all it sold out in, I think, like 13 and a half minutes, because I remember having the stopwatch with my friend over DM just talking about this. I would like to know, when you reflect on the version of the Escapers that we hear in 2020 compared to the version of the Escapers in 2023, give us a lens into the growth. What's something maybe that you don't do anymore as a band? What's something that you've changed? What's something new? Help us understand the growth.
Yeah, the growth. I feel like the growth was huge. Like I personally feel like when our band first started, we were still pretty much trying to figure it out. Because like I said, I'm from Hawaii, so I would write a lot of reggae tunes. Like, that's how State came out. It was a reggae tune. And yeah, we just grew a lot, man, because when we first started this band, I had no knowledge on really like how to sing. I knew like, okay, this sounds cool, but like I was actually talking to you and Ian about that a while, like not even a couple of days ago, how far we came. Because back in the day it was just like, he said we used to party, or like, yo, let's grab a couple cases of beer and jam out and practice. And that's kind of just how we did things. And voice recording on the phone, we would do little voice recordings, and I have like a list of probably 2,000 voice recordings from when the band first started. It's pretty trippy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just back then, I don't know. I feel like back then we were kind of like just figuring ourselves out still and doing things step by step. Where to now, it's like we know what we want to do, we know how we want to sound, and like even if it's difficult to achieve that sound, we still figure a way to do it.
Right.
And I feel like now we're a lot more not professional, we're more disciplined. Disciplined would be the word. Like actually sit down at practice and like, all right, let's work on this segment of the song and transition into this part of the song, or let's work on harmonies on this part. We never used to do that before. We used to just drink and jam out. Like, yeah, that was cool. Sounded great. You know, good job, man. Good job on the harmonies. But it's crazy because now I just feel like now that I think about it, we grew a lot because these guys are singing. Him and Vic do harmonies, and John actually does some harmonies too on Believe Me, and Ian and Daniel actually jump in when they're not playing horns and will actually harmonize too. So yeah, there's actually a huge change. Yeah, we're a lot more disciplined. I would definitely say that's the word, disciplined. For sure.
I'm here.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's weird. Like it feels like a lot has changed and things happen daily that we're growing. But even back in those days when we were like people were calling us a reggae band, before we'd start playing our reggae music, we're playing ballads, and I'm showing Johnny's soul tunes, and Johnny comes from the doo-wop world, so
Yeah.
it's just cool to be able to. We're really starting to try to get our chops up on group harmony and singing. I'd say that's been a real big progression.
That's like a key part, I feel like now.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned earlier you've met a lot of people since you've come on the scene, and I would love to know, over the years, for Colton and Johnny, who's that one person that's really been a big influence that's gotten you to kind of level up and see things differently?
Ooh.
Curtis Mayfield? Nah.
Like you, Megan?
Nah, there's been a lot of people along the path. Like, it's a trip because like we've just met so many great friends, and you just get motivated hearing different artists. Like, and it's cool because everyone has their own lane. Like, you got the Sacred Souls doing the sweet soul, the Sinceres doing that really nasty, just R&B, like, and then we got the reggae, the rocksteady, try to do some doo-wop. But I don't know. I would say like obviously Joe. Like it's been nice just kicking it, going to the studio and being able to record. It's tough. Being in California is like a hop, skip, and a jump. But if we could, we'd be recording every day. But
yeah.
Definitely Joe. Also someone that I learned a lot from. The last time we were in California, we played a show at in Long Beach, and then we played a show in San Diego. And when we played the show in Long Beach, me and Ian went and crashed at Paco's place. He's the guitar player for the Sinceres, and I learned so much from him, dude, man. That guy's a wizard on the guitar for sure. And it's weird because a lot of the things that I learned just that night crashing at his place, because we went and hung out at his place and we jammed all night, and then woke up in the morning, jammed all morning, like outside of his place. It was cool. I didn't want to leave. It was the California vibes are so.
I love California. Yeah.
If I could afford it, and I would most likely be there, and I could like take some people. If I could take my daughter and my girlfriend to California, I'd go to California. And these guys, if you guys stayed, it'd be a 3-hour drive. If we all went to California, that'd be cool. Yeah, that would be cool. I would definitely move to California. But yeah, Paco's he's a real inspiring cat, and it's cool because he doesn't, like, from what I know about him, he doesn't give that vibe. He's such a laid dude, and then when you hang out with him, you're like, showing me all these really weird guitar chords, because I play guitar too, just not nowhere like Colton. Play guitar at home and write. But yeah, Paco and definitely Joe, real inspiring dudes that I learned a lot from, especially this year.
That's really cool. I think oftentimes even with work, I'm always telling people it's not what goes down when the game's being played, but sometimes what happens between that.
Yeah.
That's when the learning, the growing, kind of that unplanned natural stuff just happens. As we got to the end of 2022, the start of 2023, super exciting stuff. We see that you signed to Parkside Records. We see 2 back-to-back 45 releases, which you don't see very often. Tell us how you got connected with Parkside and give us a lens into the 45s. I want to understand the names of the songs, kind of the inspiration behind it.
Well, for a minute there, we were on a good run during the pandemic, and then we kind of slowed down a little bit. And maybe some people know, maybe some people don't, but putting out records costs money. And it's like, it's fairly a pretty penny to put out a decent amount and get it all recorded and mastered. And one of my longtime friends since I moved to Vegas, my boy Boogie, and he put out something, the True Loves, they're out of Seattle.
Yeah.
He put something out with the True Loves, and he's been in this record game for like 30 years, just slanging records, putting things out. And me and him bonded over that. I met him when I moved to Vegas.
Okay.
And I was buying records off him, ironically. And, he told us he saw the Escapers grow a lot, and he was like, yeah, I'd be interested in putting something out on my new label, Parkside, if you guys are down. And obviously it's like in the backyard, Vegas. We want to represent Vegas.
Yeah.
And he had the idea for, it's a cover, Ain't That Loving You. We love Johnny Taylor. We love, and we called it More Reasons Than One. And when we do a cover, we definitely like to try and, give the homage, but definitely kind of flip it our own way.
Right.
So it started out with, it was kind of just like some dice. It was dominoes, excuse me. It just started all continuing on to the next, because we started working on More Reasons Than One, our cover of Ain't That Loving You. And then, man, out of nowhere, Boog gets a hold of Scientist, and he likes, and never in a million, like when he told me, I actually thought he was just like fucking with me, because we all love, that's like one of the biggest heads in dub, like right there in King Tubby's from where it was created. So that was like a dream. I feel like now if we never put anything else out again, I'd be happy. But that kind of just came off cuff, and he started talking with him, and he liked Stay. So we were able to get a mix from him of Stay. And then I don't want to take all of it. I know Believe Me is really important to Johnny from some of his influences.
Yeah, Believe Me. Yeah, Believe Me. So when I was in high school, I used to do like, the greaser thing. I did the big pompadours and thought I was like the coolest little cool cat in school. And I used to hang out with this guy named Aaron Birdie. I still talk to the dude to this day. He's a good friend of John and Kevin's as well. And we used to hang out, and we would, pass doo-wop back and forth. We had a few classes, and I actually used to like, I'm not really proud about this now, but we used to ditch classes and go back to his place, and we would sing doo-wop. And that was way before I was singing. I would try to sing and stuff, and doo-wop just grew onto me, man. It was stuck. But there was this one band that he had showed me called Jimmy Beaumont and the Skyliners, and I listened to them to this day. I listened to them on my way here while I was driving here, and so it was just weird, because I've always wanted to like, cover a doo-wop jam, and then let alone a Skyliners jam. And we actually covered one a while back. We would do Close Your Eyes. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Me too.
Yeah, we did another song by them, Close Your Eyes. I kind of want to bring that back. But we did Believe Me, and then we went to
which started as a Rocksteady.
Yeah, it did. I was gonna say, I think it was it was a Rocksteady tune, and we went to Joe's. And that's actually when we did it a doo-wop version, I think. It was at Joe's. I went to the restroom where I was smoking a cigarette, one of the two, and I heard Joey playing the piano, and I was like, what is that? I was like, what's that? And then I came in there, and then Colin was playing guitar, and he was like, dude, let's try this. Like, it's Believe Me. And I was like, what? So then we did that. I was taking a cigarette break, came back, and that's how that song came.
Wow.
They were already playing it. And I wish Jimmy Beaumont was alive, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think all of them, the whole band is gone, the Skyliners, because they've been around since the 50s, but he's definitely a huge influence. So I was really happy not only to record the song, but that Boog wanted to put that on Parkside. That was pretty cool. Sweet, man.
There's a little tidbit, actually, we'll drop it here. We went to go record Believe Me Rocksteady, and we have that in the tank right now. We're trying to get logistics to eventually release that someday. We have a nice Rocksteady version of it, which then we did the doo-wop version. And Auralia, man, I love that song for us because Ian and I, we share a playlist on Spotify called The Kiff.
It's like 16,000 songs. Like, it's huge. It's ridiculous.
But we're always passing music together. Ian's like a big music head, so that we connect on that. And I'll let Johnny get into it more, but he wrote Auralia, and we always laugh because we call Auralia like a culmination of our playlist. Like, we don't really know. Like, sometimes I would jam bossa nova chords with Kevin in between songs and just kind of mess around with some bossa stuff. We all love that. And then I don't know, Johnny sent me like he always does, he sent me the voice memo of Auralia, and Ian was over at my pad, and we were just jamming. And I came up with that line. Like, we were talking about the Temptations and My Girl, and I was like, we need like a nice line that that little guitar line that you can remember. And we were listening to Sharon Jones we were playing the playlist, listening and just chilling. And ironically, I came up with the chord progression, and we were getting into it. And then I don't know why, I just hated it. It's a different vibe without the drums and the bass. And I was like, this isn't good, man. Like, I don't know. And Ian's like, just sleep on it. When we have practice tomorrow, like, let's play it with the band. And it's like one of my favorite tunes right now, because it's like something we've never really played. It's we usually play the ballads, but it's an up-tempo ballad with a bit of, I don't know, I would say like a little bit of bossa, a little bit of Latin soul vibes. Like, Joey definitely kicked it up a notch with the piano and the congas on it. And that horn line, Ian wrote that horn line. And of course, like, Daniel and Chris, those three together, man, we'll keep talking them up, but they just blasted that horn line. And I remember all week when Ian played that line for me, I'm just humming it. I knew it was stick. It was a good one, because I'm like, all week. And that's an influence from him, from listening to the Dap Kings. Like, so it's kind of just this hodgepodge of all of our influences, and it created Auralia.
Man, I love that 45. I think each side complements the other so well. And the instrumentation is grand when I listen to it, from the horns to the guitar to the drums. But Johnny, your vocals, when you sing, man, that pen, when you're writing, it's really special. It's very authentic. And I just feel like a lot of us can really relate to it. Can you kind of talk about what you were thinking about, what you were going through in life as you were penning those songs? And were you actually driving around in the Mercedes doing the voice memos?
So I was driving in the Mercedes doing the voice memos. That would yeah, it was weird. It was really weird. It was a weird time of my life, because when I wrote that song, I was dating a girl that I used to actually work with. Super like #1 rule, don't do that. And I used to work with her at work, and it was just really bad. But it was weird because the title name Auralia was her middle name.
Wow.
And so it was about that girl. And it was like, when I was with her, it was probably like, I was not in a good frame of mind, I could say. And it was more of a hidden thing. It was something I didn't show. It was something I hid very good. And I was drinking a lot. And so me and her, it was just this really unhealthy relationship. And I wrote the song. It's funny because I wrote the song about her while I was with her, and I showed the guys. I'm like, yo, I have an idea for a song. I don't know the name of it yet. I called it Auralia because it's her name. And I showed these guys, and slowly started building. And then something really bad happened. She did something really terrible that you don't do to your boyfriend behind their back. So we broke up, and I was like, F that song. I'm done. I'm not playing it. I'm not singing it. Tore the lyrics, the original lyrics. I'm not doing it. Yeah, and Colton was like, dude, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm not singing that song, bro. Like, forget her, just forget that part of my life. And Colt and Ian were the two guys that were actually like talk to me and back to reality. Like, look, man, you're better now. It's a bad part of your life, and And he was cold, like, there's a lot of Auralias. So I was like, all right, well, we'll see what.
I mean, even girls meet guys' version of Aurelia. You said the song, it speaks.
Yeah.
It spoke to me. It spoke to Ian. It spoke to everyone who listens to it. It
Yeah,
came from his heart, and it actually is a true story. So,
and the weirdest part about it was it reminded me a lot of Stay, because Stay I wrote at work, and I wrote in like 3 minutes. I had my notepad. I wrote the first line, "You don't have to leave me, babe," and it just went boom from there. So when I was writing Raleigh, it was just like because I write poetry. It was just like a poem. I was just writing, and I had a whole song. I was like, I think this could be good, and I think I think it was a voice recording that I sent to Colton. I think it was a voice recording, and it was a beginning part. I was like, dude, I have a good idea. Check this out. And so I sent him, I said a lot of things to you that I didn't mean.
right there.
Yeah,
I was like, okay,
it was like, dude,
that's it.
Interview's over, guys. Sorry, I'm out. Can't take it anymore.
Yeah, he was like, dude, that's a banger. And I was like, yeah, I wrote a whole song. Like, I'll show you guys this. And then that's when Ian started doing his thing with Daniel and these guys. And then,
well, that's when me and Ian that night are working on the tune.
And then they stayed up till like 5 a.m, like super stressed out. And I think Ian was like, let's sleep on it. And then the next day we went to the studio. And the funniest part about it was the ending part where the everything goes slow to the everything changes. That was guys' ideas, because I was like, yo, for the end part of the song, let's just do something where it sounds completely different, like a whole different song. And I had the lyrics, but when I wrote the lyrics in my mind, I sang it lower. It was like, I don't want to watch you leave. So I showed them, and Ian was like, dude, okay, listen to me. I kept the line the same, but I sang it higher. I think you could do it. I don't know how to do it, but it's in this range. So we're at practice, and they're showing me. I'm like, dude, I can't hit that note. And I was like, all right, let's try it. And we did the harmonies, and I hit this really high note, and we ended up keeping that. And it was thanks to him and Ian. They created that whole ending vibe. And I think that's like my favorite part, and a lot of other people's favorite part of the song is that chord change. Like, it just kind of slaps out of nowhere. Like, even when I listen to it now, I'm like, dang, man, like, that's my brother's playing that. Like, that's sick.
It's nice. It's nice. Like, Johnny writes. It's a trip because Johnny writes the core of the tunes and stuff, but we all get our hand in it. And even, I think John and Kevin, like, I think they were doing that little ballad style, and Kevin was jamming it, and we're like, it just all kind of came together. We didn't even really have to. I don't know. It sounds cliche to say it, but it all worked. It started spilling out, and then it came together.
This was exactly what I wanted to capture, because there's a couple thoughts that I had as you were talking. One, I referred to you guys as a band of brothers. Yeah. And even during the first interview, you really kind of gave us a lens into that. And the way that you were describing just the challenges that you were overcoming and how y'all worked together, how they put their arms around you, and you guys turned out this massive song that is relatable to so many people, and we absolutely love it. Another thing I want to say, you guys are always doing things the right way, and nobody gives you the credit for it. Colton, you mentioned it's expensive to make records. Yes, absolutely. But another thing that you guys do is you make the music videos. And so when I watched the video to O'Reilly, everything that Johnny was describing, like when I first watched it, I said, man, he's a good actor. That was what I got after I watched it. And I watched it back again, and I'm like, man, who's in the back seat? The look on his face, going into the liquor store, and the way that every scene was shot. Like, we didn't know what was in the brown bag. We could do the math. But I just love the attention to detail, the process that you take to help us understand the music, whether it's through the merch, the music videos. I still remember Stay. I can see it scene by scene. And these are the things that we want to connect to as listeners, enthusiasts of the music. So thank you for giving us that. And thank you for giving us a lens into that. I can't even imagine. I know that when I'm feeling a certain way about something, sometimes I just say, I can't do it. I can't listen to it again. And so that's really real to hear that and learn about the process that it took for us to see it on a 45. So that's incredible, man. Thank y'all so much.
We appreciate the kind words, and I just have to make sure to shout out a big part of that music video was thanks to Parkside Records, but also our friend Shahab. I don't want to botch his last name right now, but we follow him. Shahab, I think You'll see it. It's in the credits of the video. But he works in the film department at the college here at UNLV.
Okay.
Does a ton of short films. Great guy, great videographer, and it was cool because that was our first music video. It was like so happy. We wanted to showcase Vegas, and it was a good vibe. It was us all hanging out, and this time we wanted to capture the essence of this song Auralia, and as upbeat as it is, if you read the lyrics silent, it's heavy. So he really, with the monochrome vibe, like black and white,
Yeah.
down around, and the non-obvious, like the people who live here know that liquor store on Charleston, and the people, like, they know all the spots. So it's cool to be able to showcase Vegas besides the Las Vegas sign and the Golden Knights and all that, like show the nooks and crannies of the city. But proud to Shahab for filming that video.
Okay. What's the significance of the street sign? Because there's one street, I think it's like Gilmore or something, that's shown in the beginning and at the end of the video. Is there significance to that street?
I'm trying to remember. I'm having a brain fart right now. Well, right there is our boy's car shop.
Okay.
And
okay.
it's on Ogden. Jesse's car shop.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Ogden is Supreme Auto Services. Our boys' shop's right there. It's close to. It's downtown. What's considered downtown Las Vegas, but it's just before Fremont. And honestly, it's ironic because a lot of times before we started hitting the studio and stuff, we stay away from the Strip, but Fremont's a little more homegrown, a little more cool, divey bars. But we would just we don't want to hang out in a bar the whole time, so we would just walk, like me and Kevin and Johnny and John, or we'd be going to shows, but then we would walk around. And when you keep going all the way down Fremont, you'll run into Ogden. Yeah. And I don't know I got to give a lot of credit to Boog from Parkside. He's been living here his whole life. Yeah. So he definitely wanted to showcase some of the non-obvious / obvious parts of Vegas. But there's a tattoo shop right there, our buddy's car shop. And I don't know. It's just, I don't know. When I think of Ogden, I think of us going to this liquor store that we call jokingly the Murder Mart, and just going a couple cans and just walking around and talking and sitting outside enjoying the weather.
The cool thing too was that liquor store that we went to in the music video. It's Charleston. A long story, but Boog told us a story. It was like 20 or 30 years ago in that same parking lot. There was a bike shop like 2 stores down. It's still a bike shop, but his friend's dad owned that bike shop. And it was a really long, cool story about how Boog used to go down there on like lowrider bikes, and they would hang out there and stuff. Yeah. And different owner, but that was another cool thing too. He was telling us, there's this bike shop, and had this real cool long story about how his buddy's dad or uncle owned it. But it was really weird though, because I was thinking, it was funny. I always tell him, man, I want to be an actor, but like in that music video, even Shahab was like, because I was like, what do I do? Because when
you killed it. You didn't even have to say anything.
Like when we did Stay, I told I told Concrete Chris, I was like, yo, never done this. What do I do? It's like, just do you, man. I'm like, all right. So when we did Stay, it was pretty comfortable, but this one was kind of uncomfortable because he was like, well, you wrote the song about a girl, so it's hard, but put yourself in that place. And I'm like, all right, man.
You were a little edgy too.
Yeah, I was edgy, and I was like, all right. So when they did the liquor store scene, I'm like, this is going to be easy because I remember this. I remember doing this. I remember the liquor store at 2 a.m, getting out, sneaking out, driving out to the liquor store. My family's asleep, and going and get a bunch of booze and stuff. So it was just weird because it was like I was acting, but I wasn't. Like I had to mentally put myself, like it was weird because some of the scenes that didn't make the video, but they're the same one shot over and over that are in the video, I was actually kind of upset. Like when I had my hand down and I was looking out the window, I actually didn't make myself upset, but the mind frame, I was kind of upset. Like, man,
it was like in between scenes. It's not all like, blah, blah. It was a quiet.
It was weird.
Trying to get in you don't want. Everybody's acting in music videos, but you can't be singing Auralia like. You just gotta like really put himself in that place, which was cool that Shahab and Boog pulled that out of him.
I do definitely give actors credit because I'm like, I don't know how Cruise and all those guys can do it for 20 years, because that was difficult. Like, it was exhausting, man. Like,
he was like on top of the roof of the BMW or the Benz while we're Tom Cruise. Nah,
it was cool. Though.
Shout out,
nah, super dope.
James. I see you in here. Another Parkside label mate.
What's up, brother?
Shout out to everybody at Parkside, Bugs, everybody. That's Waxvillain family. I know about the connection to Seattle. It's dope stuff. So let's talk about longtime collaborator Joey Quiones. It's year 3. You mentioned that he was working in the studio. I had Mariah Avila on a couple weeks ago, and she kind of talked about the magic when Joey's in the studio. I often refer to him as one of the greatest producers of our scene and, quite frankly, our time. Can you give us a lens into what these last 2 releases were like working with him in contrast to that very first meeting? Because I know you felt a little nervous at first when you guys got in the studio with him.
Yeah.
What changed?
I would say, I mean, we've been knowing each other now for a couple years, and it wasn't that. I mean, we all came ready to record those tunes. We really had been practicing Oralia a lot. More Reasons Than One was a little more fresh for us because we had been freshly working on that tune. But Oralia, I think we've been playing for like 4 or 5 months. But
he's played it with us at a show.
Yeah,
too,
Joey's played it with us, and
before we recorded it.
I mean, the dude is amazingly talented. But the thing I like the best about him is he's not a braggadocious. He's not a boaster. We go in there and we have fun, but we also go in there to work, and he just pulls it out of you without
telling you.
Yeah, you won't be like, okay. I mean, obviously you got to call it out on the tape, take one, but it's not like, here we go, everybody ready, action. It's more of like we're jamming, and slowly I see the mics getting set up. So we kind of at this point knew the deal of what was going on, and I don't know, you can't really is not as bad as it is for this interview. It's hard to put into words. We kind of just go there, and now we've all been hanging enough that we knew this time, especially after Stay, we really wanted to put out the best song that we could to follow up with Shame on Love and Stay. And it just felt really comfortable, man. It always starts at the piano and a couple guitars, and then we bring out the rhythm section and pour it out. Unless you got anything else.
I think too, like going back to like talking about how it was back then and now, like I feel like we've evolved a lot more. So now when we go into the studio, we kind of know, like mentally, like, all right, take care of your voice, have a beer or 2, but like, get to work. And that's how it was this one. It was, this last run at Joey's. The thing I like about Joe too is his never like, all right, you guys ready? Like, we're all just hanging out, listening to music, and then he'll kind of just like, all right, what are we doing today? And then we kind of like explain to him a little bit, and he'll be like, all right, everyone's set up. And then, like he said, he'll start setting up mics, and then he'll be like, all right, let's just do a couple takes. You guys jam out live band, and then we'll do a couple takes. And then he'll be like, all right, and he'll play it live. And we're like, damn, like this guy was recording it. He already has 4 takes, and we didn't realize it. We were just, he always, naturally. Yeah, that's what I like about Joey. He like, especially with me, because I know like back then, probably even now, it was kind of difficult, not difficult to work with me, but I know like with me, it's like, when we first did Stay, I would, like to have a little buzz, and then kind of like just, I like to meditate, kind of be in my own thing. So now it's like when we go there, Joey, like he'll have me in the room, he'll light a couple candles and bring me some water. Yeah, set the vibe. And then it's like, he knows how, like with me here, he knows, like, all right, yeah. Joey's he's wild, man. He's like a magician, like, and you don't even see it. Like he kind of just does his thing, and he's doing his thing, but in reality, it's like what he's doing is benefiting us in that moment. Do what we got to do.
Sorry, bro. The other thing that's cool is like this time around, he's in our band. Like we had been playing shows with him and kicking it. So like now it's like, oh, we're just kicking it with our band, like working out our tunes with our homies and our brothers. So it was very natural.
Yeah, super natural. It was like surprisingly natural. I was like, damn, we knocked those 2 songs out in the matter of a couple hours. Like that's pretty cool.
Wow. Okay. Mariah kind of talked about the same thing. She mentioned how, Joey would just be moving around the studio, playing different instruments. Nobody's really sure what he's doing. Yeah. And before you know it, he's put half of it together. And of course, his delivery, the things that he does is what kind of brings the best out in everyone. So I think that's awesome. Let's switch pace a little bit. I noted that you guys have done over a handful of shows. You've played alongside the Altons, the Sinceres, Joey, and many, many more musicians from the indie scene that we love so, so much. My first question, do you like being on stage or do you like being in the studio to create more? And if so, which one and why?
Oof, you want to answer first?
I mean, they're just different worlds. I want to do both a lot more, but like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't even know if I could choose because like we meet so many. It's a little. I'm not gonna lie. Like, you want to be the best version of yourself on stage and give everyone who's been supporting us and buying our music or just listening to our music or inviting us to interviews. We want to give them the best show that we can. And sometimes it gets a little stressful and we hold ourselves accountable to try to give the best show. So like, as much as I love shows, it's a lot of work and a lot of buildup of emotion to go out there and do it. But then it before you know it, it's over. It's really, but I don't know. I love them both, man, in different ways. Like right now, I think we have an opportunity here where we're setting up a little, we've been renting out studios. We might have a little space to be able to do some more things together and record like just here in Vegas. So, I mean, that's another thing that the Escapers have been evolving. We've been really writing a lot of demos a lot more and passing stuff. So it's a double-edged sword, man. It's like, I couldn't really, as much as I want to answer, I love playing live and being able to just let it out on stage and improvise. But I also like, I think what started this band really was writing music with this guy and to be able to get in and with people like Joey and play alongside of our contemporaries, these like amazing bands. It's all just really motivating and makes you just want to keep writing music.
Yeah.
It's wild, man, because like he said, I love playing shows and lately I've loved going into the studio, but it's like for me it's two different things. Like when I'm in the studio, it's gonna sound weird, but when we're in the studio recording, and I know they're recording what we're playing, I kind of just like close my eyes and I just picture it's just me and like my brothers. Like there's only us right now, no one else. You know, like everyone that's on the track we're recording, like Joey, everyone, there's only us. And the most important thing is focusing as like a whole kind of unit of brothers and just make it beautiful sound. And that's like in the studio, that's all I focus on. Like it's not even like, man, I need to hit the best vocals. Like, dude, I want to hit the best vocals. It's like I want to do stuff with my voice that can blend also with what these guys are doing. You know, it's kind of like like in my mind, it's as weird as it sounds. It's like it's only us in the world for that couple hours, and that's all that matters. But then when it's on stage, it's the opposite. It's kind of like, you know, everyone in the crowd, like I don't know, you'll see us live one of these days, bro, but when in the crowd, I'm looking at everyone, I'm pointing at people, like I'm reacting with everyone. And it's kind of like we go from when we're in the studio, it's kind of just us doing our thing, trying to make the best sound we can. And then live, we're also trying to make the best sound, but we want to put the best performance. Like there's random times where I get nervous sometimes. I'm like, man, I hope these guys don't get mad at me for this. And I look back at them and I'll be like, all right, boys, keep playing. And comes in my head, and you know, we're singing Believe Me, and I'm like telling the crowd, all right, Colton and Vic are gonna harmonize, it's gonna sound like this, and you guys are gonna copy us. And then I was, you know, let me show you, you know, believe me. And then they harmonize, you know, I beg you please. And I'm like, all right, guys, you know, like, you know, sure, you know. And then it's a different energy, and that's the best way to put it. Live and in the studio is two complete different energies. And like live, sometimes it's overbearing in the best way. Like it's so crazy. Like the feeling is just nuts. Like when I hear like the crowd singing and they know the lyrics, I'm like, man, like it's impactful because it's like these guys actually care about our music. And, you know, everyone's so nice to us because when we're done with the shows, you know, we don't just dip out. I love going in the crowd. Yeah. Especially if we're not the headlining band, I'll pop up in the crowd and like someone next to me be like, yo, you were just singing. And like, yeah, I'm hanging out, you know? And it's really cool. It's two different vibes. Tough because I don't know which one I like better. Like he said, I love both, and I wish we could do both all the time.
Yeah, Johnny, the way that you articulated that, like I was tracking 100%. I was in the game. I totally understood what you meant, and it made me think about the time that I saw Joey perform for the first time live in Seattle. Now in videos, we see this quiet gentleman doing his thing. But when this guy's kicking things off on stage, I was like, holy shit, the whole room was paying attention. It was like he was 7 feet tall, and everybody was focused on him. The way that he can control the crowd, I said, man, this is one of the best performers I've ever seen. You know,
he's amazing.
Fantastic. So the way that you talk about that, we've seen it in the videos, the live streams when you're on stage, that interaction, that's what Joey does.
Yeah.
And so it's beautiful to, if we haven't seen it yet, now we hear it and we kind of get a lens into it. You talked about being more disciplined in the beginning of the interview. I would love to know, what is it like on the day of a show for y'all? Are you taking the day off of work? Is it rest? What are we doing to get ourselves ready to hop on stage?
Feels like just nonstop.
Like, and I'm like, yeah,
wake up, Instagram post, get everything ready.
Drive to Cali.
Drive, get the gear, because also load in, sound check, kick it with the guys, warm up. I don't know. It's pretty cool because I don't know. It's a trip, man. I would say it's different for me than it would be for Johnny, because I'm trying to kick it with Victor and I'm kicking it with Kevin and the band, and trying to get a little warm ups. But also, I know Johnny kind of goes off, and we all know once he kind of disappears, he's getting his mind right and he's doing his thing. And everybody kind of has their own little just pre-show ritual, if you will. But yeah, I wish I had some cool story about it, but it's usually a lot of work. I feel like our girlfriends would be kicking it, and it's just nonstop if they're there at the shows. And I feel like I blink, and then finally at the end of the show, you get that reward of feeding it to the crowd. But usually, leading up to it, it's just a lot of work getting ready.
Yeah,
it is a lot of work. For me, yeah, I do disappear. I don't leave for the whole night, but I'll definitely go off. And as weird as it sounds, like, I'll do a little meditating thing, and I don't, cross my legs and balance on like a log. I kind of just, sit somewhere and close my eyes and just breathe for a bit. But depending where we're at too, I like to go and like peep the venue out. Like, cause like when we played at Brooklyn Bowl, for example, the Sacred Souls were doing sound check, and I was just kind of on the top, like the VIP thing, and I'm watching, I'm just tripping out. I'm like, man, like our sound checks after, and I'm like, these guys are freaking amazing. And after that, Sal came up there, and I'm like, dude, you guys sound great. And we were talking a little bit, and I like to just kind of peep out. Like, I do like this weird, I kind of like, what's the word? Foresee what the show's going to be like. So like if I stage like Brooklyn Bowl, when I was looking down, I'm like, okay, at this song, I'm going to go off of the stage. At this time, I'm going to dedicate this song to my girlfriend. And then at this time, I'm going to go off of the stage and I'm going to interact with the crowd. I'm going to stand on that thing. So I kind of just peep it out a little bit. Like, all right, like, when Stay comes along, like a lot of people know us for Stay. So usually before Stay, I kind of do a thank you. I do it every show. I think I always do a thank you. Like, this is the song, our first record, guys, and then it's just like the crowd gets all hyped and I get hyped. So I'm like, all right, then I get off the stage and walk into the crowd and start singing to people. But yeah, I kind of just go off and kind of just do a little meditation and breathe a little bit, because I do still get nervous. And it's not like, I think at this point I could sing in front of any kind of number of crowd. It's not the number of the crowd, but it's like the energy. I go really off of the energy. I think every artist does that, kind of just off the energy, and that's kind of what creates that improv. Like you said, when you seen Joey and he connects with the crowd, I'm pretty sure that's all improv stuff. Like, Joey knows what he's doing, and I'm kind of trying to learn that too. Like, okay, at this time I'm going to get the crowd involved with this song, or I'm going to try to, one of these shows, I'm going to call it now while we're on your interview, one of these shows, I'm going to have everyone scoot over a little bit, and I'm going to have one side of the crowd do a harmony and the other side of the crowd do a separate harmony. I was thinking about that. But you're the first one to hear it, Waxvillain, so when that happens...
That's dope. That's dope. I love that. It's so funny because, no matter what it is, it's about a ritual. The live streams that I would done, I have to get pumped up for it. I have to, get to this level of whatever. And it's like, the only thing I can equate it to is what it would feel like if you were walking out to play a championship game. Yeah. Regardless of what it is, walking down the hallway and sitting on a 13-inch stool, That was my championship game every Tuesday and Thursday for an hour. And I don't think it's necessarily being nervous. I think we're like waiting to catch that vibe.
Yeah.
So for example, I do a lot of public speaking at work. And the way that I describe to people when I'm in the zone is I can hear, I can see the words, I'm shaping them before they come out of my mouth. I can feel it. I know when I've reached kind of like that right level, and it's not a nervousness. It's kind of like, all right, when are you going to show up? You know, so what you're talking about there, when you disappear, you're going to find that version of Johnny, right?
Yeah, man, that's well put. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, we kind of talked about influences, things that inspire you. Give me a memory that stands out from all the shows you've played. Is there a conversation that moved you, whether it was with maybe the Sacred Souls, the Sinceres? What stands out from all the times that you've played a live show? What do you keep close to heart?
I thought of something instantly that happened recently that hit me.
Yeah.
So we all love records, and I started just finding all this music from collecting records. I won't go into the diatribe story, but digging around, working construction, finding records, and it's been a dream to be able to archive our music and put it on a record, and to have people want to buy our record and like purchase, and also new record, like people who are maybe new to listening to vinyl. And it just tripped me out at the last show in Long Beach. This couple came up to us and they said, yeah, we just bought our daughter a record player, and this is going to be her first record, Oralia.
Wow.
And that happened. And I was like, oh man, we're passing our music down into the archive, into the generations of people. And I mean, all these records behind us, some of these records are 50 years old. It's pretty awesome to be able to, that was something recently that just off top of mind that happened that I thought was really cool.
No, that's rad. How about you, Johnny?
I was thinking, man, I mean, like with me, like at shows, I'm always in the crowd, and so it's hard because there's so many bands. Like when we played our first solo show with Sacred Souls and Jason Joshua, like I thought it was super cool, like hanging out with Josh. Like we were just like, hey man, can I buy you a shot? And I bought him a shot, and we hung out, and I thought that was so cool. And then it's just crazy because I feel like every show, like the last ones we played with Los Solos, and it was like really weird hanging out because it was like we were hanging out with ourselves. It was really weird. I told the dude, I'm like, you guys are really similar to us. Like, that's kind of scary. Like, we got to bring you guys to Vegas. Like, we made really cool friends with those guys, and it's rough, man, because every show, like I keep memories to heart. Like, I still think about the very first show we ever played. But I would think, I think something that stood out to me that I would always remember is, for some wild reason, every time we play in Cali and we play a show with like Joey and he plays on keys and is singing harmonies, that those nights always stand out to me the most. Those are like the most memorable, I think. I think because like deep inside, like the very first time I ever got to go into like a legit studio, like besides friends in high school, it's like little computer setup studios, you know, like was Joey's studio. So every time we're jamming out with the Sinceres, like those memories always stand out the most to me.
Yeah, I would say that for sure. I think the first time we were recording down there, hanging out at Secondhand and barbecuing and fucking harmonizing and just.
You guys did a live stream, I think, right? Out in the backyard, the barbecue or something.
Oh yeah,
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
man.
Way back in the archives.
Funny, like, think about you. I'm trying to think of all the like things that have happened during the show, but it's always the times that we have along the ride. Like, I lose my voice before I can even go sing, just laughing with these guys after and before the show.
That's rough. Whether
we're driving down or on the way back or in the middle. But we've met a lot of talented bands along the way, and it's really motivating because we love all these groups. We listen to all these groups, and it's still pretty unreal that we get to witness this much talent and be, you know, friends with these people and in the circle of just, I mean, it's nice that music is coming back from the heart and soul again. And
for sure.
Everyone has their own swagger, which is really cool.
Very well said. Very well said. We got 2 questions left. One of them is something that I ask everybody, and I can't wait to hear Johnny's response because I know he's a man with words. Is there a quote, a mantra that you guys keep close to heart that you live by?
Ooh, that's a hard one because, man, I feel like there's millions of them, and like one thing that I always keep close is it's super simple, and I feel bad because you're so excited, but it's be humble. That sticks with me everywhere. Like just be humble, and I've been given that advice by thousands of musicians. I feel like every musician that's been doing it more than us, I feel like, like, what do you do? And like, no matter what they say, they could say something that lasts 1 minute long to 10 minutes, somewhere in between that, beginning to end. It's always just be humble, like be yourself. And that's something I tell these guys, that's one thing I love about these guys. We don't have to we are ourselves. And sometimes it can be too much. It can be wild. But I feel like that's one thing I do hold close to that. And I appreciate so much that we're always ourselves. We don't have to change, like for me, for example, like that Raleigh music video, like I used to drink a lot, and the very first part of the music video, you see me walking out of a liquor store with a vodka and a brown bag, and it's like, I'm just, yeah, just be humble. I'm always going to be myself and be humble. Like no matter where this journey takes us, I'm always going to be in the crowds, hanging out with people, like I feel like if we do this, and we're in our 50s, I'll be an old man in the crowd still listening to whatever band is next that we just hung out with.
Yeah. I love that though, man. I'll tell you, maybe it's simple, maybe it's not, but I think those ingredients into whatever you're doing, you can never go wrong. It's always the right time to kind of be humble, I think. So I appreciate that. How about you, Colton?
I'm trying to think of a mantra. All I can hear right now is like my boy Ian, our trumpet player, telling me, there's no mistakes, man. There's no wrong notes. Just go out there and do what you've been doing for all these years. Because I get worked up a lot. Like, we've been grinding so much.
That's a good one.
Yeah, Ian always saying no mistakes, no wrong notes. And we've been trying to build this, just put out records and get our music out there and figure out whatever is the right or wrong step in this thing. But lately I've been trying to just stop and smell the flowers and just instead of trying to all these steps, really just pause for a minute and be like, man, we've put out some records I'm really proud of and met some amazing musicians, and it could all be done tomorrow. You don't know what tomorrow brings. So lately I'm bad at it, I'll admit. I'm always trying to think of what the next move is and what the next show and why aren't putting out an LP yet or all this. And lately I've been trying to practice just taking a deep breath and just soaking it up.
Yeah. Yo, this is great. This is great stuff right here. I really, really love that, man. And it sounds different because that's your brother telling you that. That's not just anybody telling you that.
Ian's awesome.
So I think, it's got to really put you at ease.
Oh,
I'm all right. I got this. And the idea about smelling the flowers, man, I always say I'm grateful if I get to wake up in the morning.
right.
And that's a different version of smelling the flowers. And it makes sense. Everything that you shared, we understand the tip of the iceberg a bit more now. Why we get the quality product, why you guys were able to navigate through a pandemic, practically a recession too, and you're still here and you're thriving. Before we go, I want you to tell people what's coming up next, where they can get these bad boys right here.
So you can get them bad boys at Parkside Records and any live show that we're at. We have very little Aurelia colors left. We still have some of the red available, but you'll see, you got to look, man, because we'll take them off and then we'll put them back on. Parkside will kind of throw a little surprise on.
Okay.
I can't get into too deep, but we got some really exciting things as far as more music coming. We're working in the studio. And we're trying to we're getting a show coming soon we love California. We love our Cali fam, but we're getting a show coming quick here to represent new singles for Las Vegas. So that'll probably be the next thing. We have a Vegas show that we're pushing in the next month or so. But Yeah, check out Parkside Records, man. Check out the True Loves record on there, our records. Check out got all kinds of great labels right now. Penrose just dropped a ton of sick ass. I mean, support your local record store, support your local indie labels. Instagram is a great tool to find amazing music and just support however you can.
Now, when you said you're working on stuff, does that mean we got a 2023 release date, or are we looking at 24?
You know, it's too early to tell.
Okay.
Those logistics, all we're doing right now is just working on guitar chords and going in the studio, and he's pen to the paper. But we're in the studio, and we got things in the tank, and we're just trying to figure out our next move. I would say, I mean, there very well could be something this year that you'll be seeing.
Okay, that's exciting. I got one more thing I got to tell y'all. I want to thank you guys so much for doing those band member bios that you did for each person. I've always said, you know, since the inception of what I do, I want to know more about the band. I want to know who these people are. I don't want to just see a picture or the name of a band or an artist name. So thank you for doing that, because we got to really, I mean, me personally, I got to see and learn a little bit about each person, right? And I thought that was fantastic, because we want to be able to connect differently. So with that said, you mentioned we can find you on Instagram under The Escapers. Tell us about YouTube, because I want people to see the music videos. The music videos.
And we got a brand new Under the Escapers YouTube that we just launched with Auralia. But man, one video that I would please urge you to go watch that I feel like kind of went under the wayside. My boy Russell Deppa animated a Shame on Dub.
That was the sickest one.
So that's up there. We just released Auralia, if you haven't checked that out. But yeah, we're trying to get more content on YouTube also, and who knows, there might even be some live sessions coming too.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
As undisclosed location, but yeah, YouTube and Instagram right now, and we're grinding to get more music out to you guys, and we just want to thank everybody. Like, it's been amazing. It just always feels so good trying to compete with your last song.
Yeah.
We'll enjoy Auralia and enjoy More Reasons. And the one thing about the Escapers, like, we love reggae, we love rocksteady, we love soul, we love doo-wop, and we will never pigeonhole ourselves. We'll put out what we want, and it was really cool. And thanks to Parkside, I never would have dreamed that we would put 245s back to back, but we were able, you know, drop some stuff for the reggae heads and drop some stuff for the soul crowd too.
I love that.
And we're
any last words, Johnny?
It is a thought. We're thinking about throwing some stuff out digitally, man.
Yeah.
You know, so that might be a 2023 thing.
That is definitely something that I'll say it right now on the record. Like, we do want to give back, and we have some songs in the tank, and you're always trying to make the right move with, like, you know, there's so much music out there that's just like, you forget about it the minute. It's just so much, but we do want to give back to the people, and we'll be dropping something digitally for everyone to hear too this year.
Cool, kind of hidden original stuff that, like, if you come to our shows and then you hear the digital, you'll be like, oh, I did hear that live, you know, but it's going to sound different, of course, recorded with all the instruments and stuff, and you know, just how we're locked in compared to live. So yeah, we'll definitely be dropping some couple digital tracks here this year for sure. And I'm hoping a 45, man. That would be sweet if we could, you know, who knows?
Speak it into existence. Speak it into existence.
Time is so weird. The way time works, it's just the weirdest. It's just the craziest. So that's where we're going to keep our fingers crossed for sure.
There's a lot of labels out there, and we got a lot of different kinds of music to offer. So
yeah.
And big shout out. We've said it enough, or we can't say it enough. Parkside, like, we were in a low moment, and we came back with a bang thanks to Parkside Records definitely. And Steve and helping us put out our songs. So, and Secondhand Sounds helping us create and capture the moment of these songs.
I love that. Your story is really beautiful. Like I said, from 2020 to the current day, the back-to-back releases. I just love everything about you guys. And I want to say thank you so much for coming here a second time to, you know, give everybody a lens into not just who you are, but your growth, the music that came out, and man, just some great stories tonight. So thank y'all so much.
Yeah, man. We didn't tell you thank you. Like, especially just sharing our music and everyone's music, trying to share it with the people. Like, Instagram can be a little overwhelming sometimes, and sometimes it's almost we want to get away from it, but the reason why I keep going back is to find music, and you've been a big platform and helping
thanks,
show
brother.
people all these independent records. So we thank you for that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
All right, y'all. This stream will be up in a little while. We're signing off. I want to appreciate everybody who tuned in for the full hour and 3 minutes. Waxvillain, Seattle, Washington. We're out of here.
Love, guys.
See y'all.
Peace, guys.